Hi guys, I'm Smithers, and I've been on a roof all day today, cutting shingles, and I got to thinking I'd like to come up with a easier method of cutting these dimensional shingles. They're pretty thick. A lot of guys will put a square on it and use a knife, and that really sucks. That's a lot of work. What we use at work is these shears. It does cut right through them, but I'd like to come up with something even easier. Kind of like I was thinking of paper cutter that we had back in school, but a smaller version, and I rounded up this scrap material here. This is what I'm going to use. So I'll go ahead and figure out my dimensions here. I got an idea in my head how I want it to look, but I'll get some measurements and then start cutting out some of these pieces. Guys, I got these pieces cleaned up, ready to weld. I got them squared up and clamped in place. I'm going to go ahead and weld these out. Like I said, these galvanized pieces, you got to be careful. I grinded off as much of the coating as I could, and I got a respirator that fits under my welding mask, and I got the garage door open for ventilation. So I'll go ahead and get these all welded up and then figure out the next step. Guys, I got all these pieces welded up together, and I grinded off any of the sharp edges here, and here I drilled a hole and stubbed a bolt through, and this is where I'm going to make a blade that'll pivot on this bolt. It'll be a curved blade, and this is the piece of steel I'm going to cut it out of. I got a hole drilled in it, and so now I'm going to start marking it out and figure out the shape I want and the size I want. Guys, I think this is the shape I'm after here. I got a handle on this end and a curved blade, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out and see how it fits. Well guys, I just got this blade roughed out. It still needs a little work, but I got it fitting, and this is how it'll work here. I don't have an edge on it yet. I think that's the last thing I'll do for safety reasons. So next step, I need to put a couple legs on the bottom of this thing. Well guys, I flipped the thing over. This is the bottom side of the cutter, and these are what I'm going to use for the legs. These are just a couple chunks of 3-inch angle, and it'll either set on a table, it'll set on a flatter roof, or if it's a steep roof, this will actually sit along the ridge line. So I'm going to get my welder out and get these all welded up. There it is, all welded up, guys. These legs are a little bit shorter than the actual cutter itself, so I had a little ledge here to lay a weld along. Alright guys, well this is what I got so far. This is how it'll work, and one last thing I need to weld on is I need a fence here in the back for the shingle to sit against when I'm cutting it, so it cuts it nice and square. I'm going to weld it on and then make a relief cut for the blade to come down through. So I'm going to see what kind of material I can find for that. Well, guys, the next thing I'm going to weld on here is this fence for my shingle to sit against, and I just found a piece of 2-inch flat stock, and I got it clamped in place. I'm going to weld across it, and that'll keep it straight, and then I'll make a relief cut in it after it's all welded up for the blade to pass through. Guys, I got this fence welded on. I grinded off the corners, the sharp corners. I rounded them off, and I made a relief cut in it, so the blade will now pass through, and it'll make a complete cut in the shingle. And so all that's left to do this thing, I'm going to unbolt the blade, I'm gonna grind an edge on it and put a paint job on the thing, and it'll be complete. Guys, I just sharpened an edge on this blade. If you can see, I only did it in one direction. I left the edge clear to this side so that it cuts right along this edge here, and it's really sharp. I'll go ahead and throw a shingle up here and show you how easy it cuts. Nice square cut, nice edge on it. And the way I measured this out, if you hold a shingle flush with this edge, cut it, it gives you a 3/4 and a 1/4 piece, and that'll give you your stagger for starting these shingles up a roof. It'd go full, 3/4, 1/2/4, and these are some beat up old shingles, but you get the idea. Guys, now that I'm really happy with how it cuts, I tested it and everything seems to be working how I planned, and so I'm just gonna take it back apart and get a paint job on it. I think I have some blue. It's enamel paint. I like enamel paint. It's not as nice a finish, but it's really strong, and it doesn't scratch away and stuff like that. Guys, I got the parts painted and I got it all back together. It's done. It's ready to go to work with me. One thing I did do is I put some grease on this side of the blade, so when I tighten the bolt real tight, it'll still move. And I added 2 nuts on this side and locked them together so it won't come loose on me. I never did mention the dimensions. I got 17 inches this way, 22 this way, and yeah, I'm real excited about this project because even though I had a little time in it, I cut a lot of time off for my next roof, guys. So if you got any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you, and thanks for watching.